Good evening and welcome to Spooky South Coast. Tim Weisberg here, along with the silent assassin Matt Costa and science advisor Matt Moniz. Stephanie Burke off tonight. And a little bit of an extended version of the theme song there because Moniz just found out his headphones weren't working. He's only been here for like 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, let me put them on right now. See if they work.
Sorry.
It happens all the time in this studio. You never know. It's kind of like a grab bag. That's why you've been doing this for 10 years. Why don't you have your own headphones yet?
Well, I had them, and I keep leaving them at home in my gear bag.
You really want to wear community property? You've seen some of the people that work here.
Look at us.
I know. That's why I wear my own, because I'm afraid of the See, when the zombie apocalypse happens, Moniz, it's going to happen from sharing headphones. That's why everybody's like, oh, you see all the kids on the bus. Here, grab one of my earbuds and we'll listen to this together. No, that's how it starts. You put somebody else's earbud in your ear and that's it. You are infected.
You know I've been, looking for the zombie apocalypse to start, right?
I know. You've been saving up and waiting. That's why you bought the tank.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how you park around that thing down there, but you pull it off. You pull it off well. Well, we are here to talk about the paranormal, as we are each and every Saturday night. You can join in all the fun with us by checking out our live streaming video on Spooky TV at SpookySouthCoast.com or on our YouTube channel. You can see the studio there on the webcams. You can join in the chat room. You can get involved with the conversation there. You can also tweet us at SpookySC or just use the hashtag SpookyLive. And you can also call us because we have the technology. 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. Those are the ways to get in touch with us throughout the course of the night during the show. We are in Paranormal Christmas season, the Halloween season. It's October. Last week we had our Bridgewater Triangle investigation show, and we announced our Bridgewater Triangle event. For the first time ever, the Spooky South Coast crew is taking you into the Bridgewater Triangle, and it's happening on November 5th. And if you check out the Spooky South Coast events page on our website, you can see that we have stuff planned every weekend now for the next, 4 or 5 weeks. So we have next week, which I'm going to let you know about in just a moment, we have a special event that we are putting on with the radio station. Then the week after that, we have our S.K. Pierce Mansion investigation that's sold out. Then the weekend after that, we'll be at Fort Tabor in New Bedford. And I got to tell you, if you're thinking about going to that event, please buy your tickets now because I have to go in front of the city park board coming up. And I have to give them a significant amount of money for us to be able to have that event. And if I don't raise the money, we might have to cancel the event. So we need people to buy it. We've only sold a few so far.
How many do you need?
We'll get into that off the air. I don't want to discuss the business end of it because I don't know if the city would want. The city's giving us a little bit of a deal, but it's still not enough of a deal. So we gotta get the ball rolling on that. And then of course November 5th we will be at the 4 different sites inside the Bridgewater Triangle all in one night, including the Keith House, which was built in 1662. So I always love going to the Faring Tavern because that was built in 1690. This place has almost 30 years on that place. So it should be one heck of a night. Whoa, we're high up there. I feel like I should have wore something a little more slimming on that wide shot there. I apologize for those of you watching at home. They're like, oh, Tim's a fat ass. Yeah, kind of. So, but I'll be doing a lot of walking with these events coming up. So I'll probably shed some pounds before Thanksgiving for a change instead of the other way around. But we will be talking about the event that's coming up next week with the radio station. It's going to be one of our Face Your Fears nights. It's going to be next Saturday. All right, I'll just tell you about it right now. Last year we did Face Your Fears night at Fort Tabor, and we did 2 of them, and it was a rousing success. We had a lot of fun, but we also had some pretty cool experiences as well. Well, we're going to go to another fort coming up next Saturday night. This year we're haunting historic Fort Adams in Newport, Rhode Island. That's happening next Saturday at 7 p.m. The spooky crew will lead you on an investigation through the fort and across the grounds. And there's a disclaimer here. They warn you, this event is not for the faint of heart. You'll be walking around in the dark, sometimes through treacherous terrain. So if you want to get your tickets now, just go to WBSM.com to get your tickets for Face Your Fears Night at Fort Adams. That's the only place where you can, well, it's not the only place. You can go to WBSM.com or Fun107.com, but those are the only places where you can get tickets to next Saturday night's event at Fort Adams in Newport, Rhode Island. I have never been to Fort Adams. Moniz, have you been down there?
Been by it, never really been in it.
I've never explored it. I've never been down there to take a tour. So I'm very excited about this. I do know the paranormal history of it. It was built, I believe, in 1799. And one of the main ghost stories involved there was a 4th of July celebration one year early in the fort's history, and one private shot another private while they were celebrating. Apparently they'd had too much to drink, and one shot the other one. There was also a woman who died under mysterious circumstances on the property. And there's numerous other ghosts and spirits that are reported. People report being pushed and poked. They have rocks thrown at them. Ghost Hunters was there, I believe, last year. So there's been quite a bit of paranormal activity that's happened there over the years. And we are going to try and take you out to experience some of that next week for Face Your Fears Night. Again, just go to WBSM.com if you want to get the tickets, and get them fast because there's only a limited amount, and they're pushing the heck out of this event on both this station and Fun 107 starting on Monday. So you want to make sure that you get in there and get those tickets before they go to everybody else. So again, just go to WBSM.com for that. Now, there's been a lot of talk over the last couple of weeks about clowns. We had clown sightings here on the South Coast. People are terrified of these clowns. We have no idea why people are dressing up as clowns and just milling about. We've heard stories about, sometimes they're acting in a threatening manner. Most times they're not. And I don't even know if I believe all these stories of them acting in a threatening manner. But somebody's out there, and for whatever reason, they're giving clowns a bad name. And we here at Spooky South Coast, we're very good friends with a clown. Probably the South Coast's most famous clown. And so we welcome him on the air. Let's bring on Chuckles the Clown. Good evening, Chuckles. Is this you?
Good evening. This is me.
Well, and I have to say that I've read some of your Facebook posts, and this is really kind of, you're a happy guy. You're a happy clown, but this is really kind of weighing on you quite a bit.
Oh, it is. It's definitely taken money away. It's quite frankly, it's stupid to be the advocator of the clowns. I'm not only a good clown, but I'm also an evil clown come around now because that's how I make my money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people are afraid of clowns. It's like the number 3 phobia. I think this is all political media ploy to get over such things like the new movie It, and also, of course, you have 1031, which is Rob Zombie's horror flick. So I think it's the media trying to shove this down our throat, personally.
Well, I mean, you say that, this time of year you're an evil clown, but we can kind of tell when we're around you, and we've seen you at a lot of these, these horror things, these paranormal things. It's shtick to a strong degree, and if you ever really scare anybody, and if they ever felt like you've gone too far, you always make sure you pull them aside and explain to them, I'm really a good clown, a nice clown, and I'm just trying to scare you. You are always very aware of the fact that people do have this phobia, and you don't prey upon it. You play with it more than anything else.
True. That is very true. You have to know, it's like the old saying, how to use a light switch. Turn off the scare and turn on the clown. It's like that with little kids. A lot of folks like to torment and scare little kids. Well, little kids are my customers. So if I torment and scare them, they're going to want nothing to do with me in 10 years. But if I entertain them like a real clown would, and in 10 years they come down to one of the haunted houses I work at, well, then I'm supposed to scare you there. That's what I get paid to do. I started off doing the scary stuff, scaring people. That's primarily what I do when I'm on television. I premiere a scary clown. But if it comes down to it, I have been known to throw on the happy clown paint and just sit there and paint kiddos' faces, juggle, do magic tricks. And what clowns do, they're supposed to make you happy. We're not supposed to scare you. If we do scare you, well, then something scares everybody. And these idiots out there buying masks at spirits and throwing them over their faces and going out pretending they're clowns, they don't realize that they're actually hurting the people that actually do this for a living.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing, is they're not really being clowns, because being a clown involves the performance and involves the skill, the learning, the technique, and all that to be able to express that entertainment to people. They're just wearing the mask because they're trying to be representative of a clown. So they're not actually, it'd be one thing if they were actual clowns, but they're not. They're just, I'm assuming, people who are trying to make some sort of a statement by dressing up as a clown, which is basically just bastardizing what it is that you do for their own means.
Oh, it definitely is. And, a lot of the folks that I work with they play a clown once a year at the haunt, and then it comes off. Right? They don't do what I do all year round, but they enjoy playing it at this time of year. They're not. So if you want to do that sort of thing and go out there and scare people, go to a haunted house. I mean, they're out there. See which ones are hiring you, a charity one. Throw the clown mask on and scare someone. You're supposed to do that there. Going up inside someone's yard, not so good. That's how you get into problems and everything. I have never, ever chasing someone into their public property or anything that's on side of there. If you're at a con and I am there, and you know this, and I know you're scared of me, I will to a point, but I will back off, because there's people in there that are coming to enjoy the con. They paid money to get in the door. I don't want to chase them out there. And personally, it's not safe to be doing that. You're in a crowd of people. I have been doing what I have been doing for about 10 years, and I have performed in some of the scariest neighborhoods in Providence. Some of these neighborhoods are ones that I wouldn't go down even if I wasn't in clown gear. But the money is there. But now, if I go up to Providence, I have certain folks threatening to run me over.
Well, and that's what that's what I'm most concerned about, is the fact that I'm seeing, these people who are dressing as clowns, they are not making overt threats toward people, but yet people are responding. And I'm seeing a lot of these posts, if a clown shows up in my neighborhood, he better be prepared to get shot on sight. And people are threatening violence against these clowns for no reason. Does this scare you now to go out and try and make a living as you always have as a clown? Are you worried for your own safety and for that of your friends?
No, not at all. Yesterday was actually the first day that I showed up as in Chuckles gear at a haunt. And of course, I got the name calling, and are you the one that's going to take me into the woods and whatnot? I just stayed in character and gave it back to them. Mm-hmm. All the threats and everything. So I wasn't really worried because it's just a lot of people talking trash out their mouth. I mean, everybody says they're going to do something, but until I see that something, I'm not very worried about it at all. I mean, that shooting, that was a hoax. I hope that no more of that comes up and it actually becomes a realistic thing, because it's a form of hatred, what it comes down to. And to hate someone for their job and what they do because of some other kids ruining it, it's no better than what we're doing right now when we're hating people on certain races or certain religions because of that one bad person.
And that's kind of my theory on this is, I haven't found anything to back this up online, but I've been thinking in my own mind that I think that these clowns are supposed to be representative of, and just go with me on this, people. I'm not doing this in any derogatory way, but I think clowns are supposed to be indicative of black people. That basically it is standing up and saying, you are making a preconceived judgment on us based on the way that we look, and you're not bothering to get to know us. So we don't have any bad intentions. We're just out there and we look like this, but yet you fear us for no reason. So I almost wonder if it's some sort of underground statement toward the racial strife in this country.
You know what? You said that, and it really, really hit home, because I was thinking the same thing, that this came about to take away from what the true problem is going on right now. Someone planted that seed so it would take you away from all these wars that are happening out there, and oh my God, now we have to hate clowns. Never mind the fact that there's a hurricane that knocked over 90 buildings down in Florida, or the fact that this racial hatred stuff is still going on in certain areas of the country, they're trying to get away from it and shove it back under the rug. So they go for an scapegoat, and what better scapegoat than the clown? I mean, everybody hates us. So it's like, it's not something new. I mean, this happened in the 80s, too, but the only difference in the 80s, we didn't have this thing called Facebook or the media where the public got on it so well. It was more word of mouth. So there's nothing new. It's just an old rumor that resurfaced, and it's spread like wildfire.
And as you said, it's affecting you in terms of being able to make money. I'm sure it's affecting a lot of clowns who go out there and do a lot of this work for charity. I can only imagine that as these stories are spreading around schools and amongst the younger generation, clowns are walking into hospital wards, and instead of bringing smiles and joy, they're inciting fear by no fault of their own.
It's true. Yesterday, after I was done doing, I was working, we went to a local restaurant. And this restaurant is usually very kind to me. The waitress staff still is when I walked in the door. So I walked in the door because I don't take my gear off till I get home. I don't need to. I walked in the door. There was a couple people that said, "Hey, I know who you are. I watch your show. I want your pictures." But there was this one woman that came inside. She saw me, and she goes, "How can you be dressed like that? That's offensive."
What?
I'm like, "What? How am I offensive?" I'm like, "I'm a clown. How is that offensive? There's no racial hatred signs on me. There's no upside down crosses on me. Like, how is this offensive? Just because you're too stupid to realize what's going on in front of you is fake, and they're trying to get a rise out of you. And the ones that are actually doing this, they're not clowns. They're stupid teenagers playing pranks.
Right.
So who's the offense? Not me." But she was offended. She wouldn't even sit by me. And it fell back to that old racist statement, put the guy in the back of the bus.
Yeah, I mean, and that's I just keep making that connection in my mind. But, I know that we only have you for a few minutes, but getting to happier ideas and happier thoughts, how can people check out Chuckles and Laughs?
Well, if you're in the Rhode Island area, which I think this is a Massachusetts number, right? But it's podcasts through Rhode Island, too?
Oh, we're all over the world. This show's
right.
global.
So if you want to watch us all over, we are on YouTube. We're on the Chuckles, the letter N, Laughs Show. And if you're looking, we also have a website, Chuckles and Laughs Show .com. But if you're in the Rhode Island area, Monday nights at 10 p.m., Channel 13, statewide. That's how you can get a hold of us, and that's the best way to do it.
So hopefully this clown thing blows over for whatever reason it's happening. Hopefully it goes away and you can get back to the business of just clowning around and making people laugh when appropriate and scaring people when appropriate.
You got it. Let me tell you something. There's something scarier than me out there. It's called Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. If you guys aren't afraid of that, then there's something wrong.
We got one wearing clownish pantsuits and the other one painted bright orange. So
yeah, I'm thinking about moving to Canada already.
Well, if you do, send us some Molson. So
we will.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Chuckles.
Thank you very much.
Have a great night.
Have an evil night.
All right. That is Chuckles the Clown. And again, you can check him out. The Chuckles and Laughs Show. Matt Costa, I know that you're a big fan of the show. And I'm not afraid of clowns. I've never been afraid of clowns.
No.
Not even when I was a little kid do I remember being afraid. I was afraid of this clown lamp that was in my room, but that's a whole different story. But when a clown came up to me, I was never afraid of it. I always saw it for what it was. It was somebody who was supposed to make me laugh. More often than not, I probably rolled my eyes and groaned at some of the clown's jokes, but that's part of the appeal of the clown. That's part of what it is. But I mean, I know you're not afraid of clowns, Matt. Matt Moniz, I've never heard you say anything about being afraid of them.
No, when I was a teenager, I actually got to help work in a circus. So,
was it?
I'm not surprised, actually. I'm not surprised by the statement whatsoever.
I would say, was it Pee Wee Circus from Big Top Pee Wee?
No,
you weren't the hairy dog boy.
No,
that was actually Benicio del Toro.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
No, I just wound up helping set up the cages for the animals, and
they put you inside to make sure they were sturdy enough.
That was a summer job.
So like if he can get out, then the lion can. So
No, it's actually pretty cool.
Fascinating.
But I actually got to hang out with a lot of the people that were clown performers. They're actually pretty cool people.
I can imagine. I mean, you're dedicating your life to, trying to make others happy, trying to make others, at least laugh for a few moments. And I can tell you, like, when you're in front of a crowd and you get laughs, it's a great feeling. So not only is it good for them, the audience, but it's good for you as a person, because when you go out there and you hit something and you nail it and everybody's laughing, then, you feel like you've got them in the palm of your hand, like you can do anything. Just in the stage show that we do, I get a couple of laughs in one of my story. Originally, were unintentional. I never meant to get these laughs, but every time it gets chuckles. No pun intended.
Yeah.
So I do it.
You're just being a bozo.
And now, I know, I'm just clowning around. But I just now, Mark had the best advice. If a clown attacks you, go for the juggler. But the, Mark Colacusis gets full credit for that. But you feel that, it's an adrenaline rush to do that. So I understand why clowns do what they do and why they want to kind of perform in that manner. I want to go back to what I was saying to Chuckles, though, because the more I think about this, the more I'm thinking, there's two explanations for this as far as I can tell. One, a couple of these reports got out as they have in the past, but because we now live in the social media age, the story takes off even more. It has even more legs. And there's a number of people out there who are just looking to be part of something, just looking to be subversive, or just looking to get a rise out of people or whatever. So they're the ones that are putting on these clown masks and going out there and doing this just because it gets a reaction out of people. I think that that's probably one possibility and probably the most likely scenario. But I also do think that this could be an allegory, an illusion for the racial situation in this country right now. Because think about it. You have people who are riled up about this when these clowns have done nothing to incite fear except show up looking like clowns. And so I said it this morning on the radio. It's no different than the old woman in the store who clutches her purse a little tighter when the young black kid walks by her. It's no different than the people who don't get out of their car on the side of the street until the group of black teenagers walks by. You're making this judgment based on the fact that you're afraid of them because of the way that they look.
Well, there's also a history. I'll give you one name, John Wayne Gacy.
But that is a situation where, clowns weren't scary. I mean, clowns were scary to people before that, but we didn't use it as this horror icon until that situation.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if you were afraid of a clown before that, it was because you were just afraid of clowns. The same thing now. You're just afraid of them because you're afraid of them. They haven't done anything. Clowns weren't threatening to kill you until John Wayne Gacy. So if you had that fear,
And
it was
then
just
after that is what? Insane Clown Posse and Juggalos?
I wouldn't put them in this
No,
category, though, because that is gimmick more
Right.
than anything. And I've gotten to know some people who knew the Insane Clown Posse before they hit it big and basically said they're just two dorks that were looking to make money.
And they found a shtick.
Yeah, and they were hustling CDs out of the trunk of their car, and, this is what took off for them.
You
So,
can make the same argument for Kiss, too, for that matter.
Right, exactly. It's just the same thing. It's just a performance. Now, I used to like Insane Clown Posse. I thought they got ridiculous over time, but I like that Great Malenko album. I was telling my son this evening about it. I drove around listening to it in 1998 or whatever. But the fact is, like I said, these clowns haven't done anything yet. But what bothers me about this is I think that the police are probably keeping some of this under wraps so as not to incite fear amongst the public. We've seen some of these press releases that have come out from the local police departments. Matt, you and I were talking about the other night, I think.
One person was actually arrested recently locally, I thought. Dartmouth or something.
Was it a true story, though? Because there's a lot of stuff
we've heard a lot of rumors about people getting shot, people getting attacked, things like that.
No, I mean, like, the person was arrested, and I think it was locally. I can't be sure if it was a bona fide news service. I thought it was actually.
Well, if it was,
right,
it was.
Well, that's the thing. There's so many stories that it just gets clouded, and you create this this fear in your head, basically.
Like, we got into this with the news department here at the station because, Taylor's the news director, and he doesn't really want to give any credence to these clown stories. But it's something that people are talking about.
Arrested for a felony in Fall River.
Well, they were already looking for him for a felony?
I think what happened was he's dressed as a clown and
they said, "Hey, who are you?" And they ran his name and
had a felony.
So it wasn't. I mean, he got caught because he was a clown because he already had committed some other crime. He didn't commit a crime as a clown, which I think is the issue.
I'm reading it from what people are putting up here. I just remember seeing a brief story about it, but I was a little busy and didn't get a chance to read.
You got a computer. Google's your friend. You can
I'm more
look
of
it
a
up.
Bing guy, but
You can look it up. But the fact is, all these stories that we're hearing do turn out to be nothing more than rumors. Okay, so there was a clown outside Mark Anthony's Pizza the other night. People caught a picture of it. It went around social media. Fine. It was a guy in a clown mask outside Mark Anthony's.
Right. It's not illegal to be in a clown mask.
Right. There's no law against it. That's the thing, and I think that's the point. That's the point behind this is, like, you can't just stop and frisk a clown because somebody's wearing a clown mask. You can't just stop and frisk somebody because they're black. The correlation, I think that's what they're trying to make.
I think that's a reach.
You think that's a reach?
No, I think I understand that is a way another person can interpret it, but I don't think that's what they're out there for.
You think being this organized for that reason is a reach? Like being able to pull this off. All right, I can buy into that. But especially because if that was the case, it would be churning up on the internet. There would have to be message board discussions.
And there would be holding signs, and there would be other political things to go along with it.
But it could also be something that's planned to ramp up as we get closer to Halloween, closer to the election.
I wouldn't be surprised now that everybody's talking about it can get hijacked by other people, taking it over. And
but if it was a movement like that, if it was like an Occupy type movement, you would see message boards and internet chatter about it, and the authorities would be on that, and they would have already. I think they would have released that so as to calm the public's fears a little bit.
I think the people are right that this is more a marketing gimmick. I think this is a type of guerrilla advertising for the movies coming out and stuff like that. That makes sense. People have done that kind of stuff. I think it might have
started out as that, but I think
and then people caught on to it and
because there's so many articles about it. We're talking about it right now. This is the second show we've kind of dedicated to it. People jump onto viral trends. It's almost like, and the same thing with the fear of clowns. I think a lot of people say that they're afraid of clowns when they're really not. It's like, I don't know, bacon, cats.
Right. Clowns can creep you out and make you feel uncomfortable, but it's different than being terrified.
Well, the Fall River case can be found in an article on NECN.
Okay, and it was a felony that was committed previously.
I didn't get to read the whole thing. So
all right, well we'll read that during the course of the show, and we'll make sure we want to be factual and make sure that we have all the information. But the rumor that Matt and I are talking about was that they were supposedly seen around the J.C. Penney holding machetes.
You start holding weapons, then
that's a crime.
Yeah,
you can't just stand outside J.C. Penney at Wareham Crossing holding machetes.
Right, but did that get blown? I guess blown out of proportion, exaggerated. Was it actually a machete, or was it like a fake? You don't know, and then you put two and two together in your head.
Well, that's the thing. We live in an era where everybody has a freaking camera in their pocket. So you saw clowns holding a machete outside JCPenney, and you didn't think to take out your phone and take a picture. But you had your phone on you to be able to go on to Facebook and say, hey, right now there's clowns outside JCPenney carrying machetes.
Right, because, I mean, you can buy some pretty realistic things from a Halloween shop or
It's Walmart actually cheaper to go buy a real machete than it is to buy a fake one.
It is, because I think I've done that.
Right. You have. You've shown up with real machetes.
Right, because they're like $3.44 at Walmart.
Right. I've said to you, is that a real machete? And you said, yeah, I'm not spending $12 for a plastic machete. I just bought the real thing for half that. But so that's the thing is I think it's easy to, just as you can say, people are jumping on this and wanting to get involved in this because it's trendy, it's underground, it's buzzworthy. People are talking about it. I think people want to have a clown experience for the same reason. So I think you're getting a lot of these blown out of proportion stories, a lot of these rumors. So it can't just be, I was walking down the street and I saw a guy that it looked like he might have been dressed as a clown. It turns into, I was driving down the street and this guy dressed as a clown jumped on my windshield and started trying to hack into my car with a machete. That's, people just are naturally going to fish story this to the point where, they want to have the more profound experience than somebody else has had. So that's going to just keep building it up. But I think the biggest problem around all of this is the clown hatred. And, no offense to Chuckles and his colleagues and what they do, but I'm not talking about anger toward those clowns, because I think most common, sane, rational people would look at a table full of people that have just come from a haunted attraction, and some of them are dressed as clowns and said, okay, this is like a costume thing. This is a little bit different. I'm talking about when the stupid teenage kid buys a clown mask at Walmart and decides to walk around his neighborhood wearing that clown mask to be whatever, and some guy takes a shot at him.
I'm surprised.
Or somebody beats him up.
Yet. Oh, I'm surprised somebody hasn't been, either run over, shot, or
at least
clubbed
just
to death.
Yeah, at least,
but wearing this.
Not even to the extreme of death, but at least roughed up a little bit. And
well, when you run over by a car or shot,
I went out the other day because we're doing this event. We're doing this Face Your Fears night next Saturday night. You can get your tickets at WBSM.com. And so I was trying to come up with ways to create some sort of video that would capture people's attention. So as all my great ideas did, it came to me in the shower. And I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to buy I'm going to go to Walmart, buy a clown mask, and I'm going to make a video of a clown, and it's going to say, this creepy clown is going to tell you how he's going to scare the South Coast. And I started off the video wearing the clown mask, filmed it in my basement, and then I pull it off. And I know, but I'm just telling you for the listeners that might not have seen it. I pull the mask off and I explain what the event is. And it was just a way to kind of play on the viral trend. But I went to Walmart to buy the mask, and people were looking at me like, why are you buying a clown mask? There was only 2 left in the entire store. And the woman's like, we had like 40 of those masks at the beginning of the week, but they're all gone now. And I said, well, who's been coming in and buying them? And she says, it's all different types of people. It's not like I can tell you just teenagers are coming in here and buying them. So already you're getting these looks from people just for buying a clown mask. Now, I probably should have diverted attention by buying a few more things instead of just grabbing a clown mask and going through the line. But, I explained to everybody what it was for and what I was doing. But people are on heightened alert about clowns. And that just, to me, that just seems like it's too much of an allegory to being on heightened alert because of racial tensions. But maybe that's just me.
Well, I'm not seeing it as racial. I'm seeing it more as, have you seen
judging people based on their appearance?
No, I see it more as people using it to mask themselves. I tend to look at it as a modern day enaction of The Purge. Remember the movie The Purge?
Right.
And
well, it's not, modern day. It's only a couple of years ago.
Well,
actually, it took place in the future, too, didn't it?
Yeah.
All right, now we're getting all kinds of time travel mess ups in my
That's
mind.
what I was trying to refer. It's like, is this something like that? People trying to mask themselves. Not so much as a racial thing, but to literally hide behind the mask.
Well, then that would just be straight fear-mongering.
Right.
And if that's the case, if that's what it's for, then it should get shut down immediately. But I just think it's going to be something where, first of all, I would like to think that no matter what, it's going to fade away after Halloween, just because there's going to be less access to that kind of stuff.
And it's a lot colder out.
That's true. But
I think there was a recent article with Lauren Coleman where he was saying that these things happen every few years, and they always tend to drop off after Halloween, November, when it starts to get colder and nobody wants to go outside.
But it hasn't been like this in the past.
I don't think it's been this viral. No.
I mean, we can talk about, like the clowns driving the white vans in the 80s, but
here's
a lot of that
reason why it's more
right,
viral.
It's because of the fact that it's being spread through social media. It's being spread through the internet.
Right.
But I don't think it's ever reached this proportion before, ever.
Well, I remember as as a kid growing up in the 80s. You know, we had.
But you talked more about clowns driving vans than people actually saw clowns driving in vans. It became an urban legend very quickly.
Yeah.
And it became a story far more than it was an actual fact. You know, now we live in an era where we can prove that it's actual fact. And even then, I'm probably only seeing actual fact for about 65, 70% of these reports. If, you know, and just the fact that some of the stories that I'm seeing online. The other day I had to chase a story about whether or not 2 Dartmouth elementary schools went into lockdown because clowns were seen outside. 4 people were talking about it on my Facebook page. And I had to contact Dartmouth town officials to find out if it was true or not. You know? And then I had to go back and tell these families that no, the school wasn't in lockdown. But they're like, but my kid said that it was, you know, and it doesn't, like, it could just be kids going to school and say to another kid,
Right.
hey,
The rumor mill.
yeah, somebody saw a clown outside and we're in lockdown right now, because it's easy to think you're in lockdown because you can't walk out of the school anyway.
Yeah.
So it just becomes an easy,
Right.
you know, it becomes something that can just catch fire very quickly.
It's like little Johnny in math class. He's like, I heard it from Joe Smo in history class, and he heard it from this person who
Right.
heard it at gym class. And
Yeah,
then-
the telephone
Right,
game.
exactly.
And his uncle's on the school committee, so it's got to be true. All right, well, we have a call here that's been waiting patiently. You can call in at 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. The chat room is on fire on Spooky TV, on YouTube, and on SpookySouthCoast.com, so you can join in there as well. But we do prefer the good old-fashioned telephone method, too. Speaking of the telephone game, good evening. You're on Spooky South Coast.
Yeah, these clown sightings, it's a big joke. It's a bunch of bull. 99% of these are fake. Actually, I found out that there's an app that people can report them, and what's happening is everyone's reporting anonymously on the app. One was cited here, one was cited there. It's a joke. I know they were cited at local college, supposedly. It was fake. There was no eyewitnesses. If you actually trace back to the beginning, I think it was down in Georgia where it started, people weren't given description. Oh, well, this person down the road said they saw him, and then they told my daughter. It's a bunch of bull. Right after the photo for Pennywise was released, the actor, it's all started up. It's all hype. That's all it is.
Do you know the name of the app?
I don't know. I've been trying to find that out, looking for it. But I know there's an app that it's being reported. I do not know the name of it.
Yeah, it's probably one of those things where you have to go directly to the site to download it. It's not up on like the Google Play Store or anything. But
Yep.
yeah, well, I mean, certainly, I mean, it does. That photo did come out conveniently just a short time before all these sightings started. So, you know, but both film productions have denied having any involvement in this. But would they really come forward and say it if it was a viral marketing plan? Wouldn't they want to keep that air of secrecy around it?
No, because the mystique is better. The mystique is better. We don't have anything to do with it. It builds up hype, and that's all that's happening. Now you're going to get actual sightings because every moron is going to go out there with a knife and a mask to try to perpetuate it. That's all that's going to happen.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the call.
Thanks.
Have a good night. And if anybody does know about that app and you want to let us know, you can give us a call, 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. And that's true. I mean, if either production, either the Rob Zombie film or the new version of It, had anything to do with this,
They're loving it, probably.
yeah, you would not want to come out and say, oh, yeah, we'd started this as a viral campaign, because the point of a viral campaign is for them to not know that it was you. You know, the point of this is to let it seep out there into the general public and create a buzz without you having to
especially
force it.
if there's people like getting hurt and arrested and things like that.
That's
not,
when you would have to come forward,
right, because
or
then there's
not.
going to be some lawsuits involved.
Right, distance
or-
yourself further. So what do you think? Should we all just go dressed up as clowns and
Maybe.
we'll just walk around
Maybe.
and see what happens?
I found
Hell no, I'd be scared to death.
the creepy clown tracker.
Was that like in the Play Store or?
No, it's a just an article about it. I don't know if I trust this website to download it, but
I need you to download that and just let me know if there's any in the neighborhood right now. We'll just grab
Imagine
them.
that. It's like it's like Pokemon Go, except that's
I think that's what it is.
Creepy Clan Go.
I think that's what it is. I think it's although Pokemon Go they block you from being able to use things that help you find it. But imagine if you could just open your phone and be like, "There's a clown right behind me." People do it with ghost hunting apps all the time, right? Look up clown radar.
Oh God!
See if that's one.
Somebody's gonna invent that app. You just gave it to him.
If I want a cut of that.
There's probably going to be like a how there's that running game, the zombie running game.
Yeah,
it's like supposed to help you exercise.
Yeah,
but
because
there's
you see
virtual
zombies.
Let's
Yeah.
probably do the same thing with clowns. Which I guess that would be a good motivator.
Would you dress as a clown for Halloween with all this stuff going on?
I wouldn't, because I would think it would be lame because there's so many other people.
That's true. That's true.
I tend to not want to do what other people want to do.
I understand.
Or I try to.
Which is why I would suspect that you would not want to dress up like a clown.
It'd be the same thing if you, I don't know, dress up as like Superman and then show up to a party and then it's like, oh, we have 2 Supermans now.
No, you know what this would be? This would be like the Halloween. This would be like going to the Halloween store and either buying a Donald Trump or a Hillary Clinton mask. It's like you didn't put any thought into it. You just grabbed it because it was on the shelf. And you're like, I got a blue suit at home. I can just wear that. I think we have another call here on the line. Good evening. You're on Spooky South Coast.
Yes. I was watching Fox 25 yesterday, news in the morning, and there was this man who was arrested. He had a clown mask, and he was following a school bus and scaring all the kids.
That was actually the father of one of the kids that was on the bus.
Okay, I just was wondering if you didn't hear about it. Yep.
And he really didn't have any explanation as to why he was doing it except to scare his kids.
No. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, that was a weird story that came out yesterday where I guess the dad was talking with the kids about it and decided to scare them and put on a clown mask and chase after the bus as it went down the street. So apparently you're not supposed to chase a school bus.
Now, in New Bedford, what was a couple of days ago, they had helicopters searching for somebody that supposedly tried to do a home invasion, and I recall somebody saying that he had a clown mask on.
I don't know. I didn't hear about that. I would say, so you got to be careful here because you hear about this and you start talking about it and people take it as fact when it could just be rumor mill again. You know what I mean?
No, because I had friends that were talking about the helicopter circling. And
right, but you got to show me the story. You got to show me the news story.
Well, I got the news story for the guy that was arrested.
Which, by the way, I've been attacked on Saturday morning from some callers who said that you just can't get behind this microphone and say things because people take it as fact and they accept it as being actual hard news because we're saying it over this microphone. And I just need to reiterate, as we're talking about all this stuff, we're just talking speculation, conjecture. This is not hard news. Hard news would come out of that other room, and it would be from one of the trusted news sources here at the station, from a Jim Phillips, from a Taylor Cormier, from a Dan McCready. One of our news people are the ones that give us news. Behind this microphone, we do speculate, and we do talk about topics, and we do kick things around. That's the idea behind it. So certainly don't take anything that we're saying at face value. Absolutely go out and do your own research and make sure that that's the case. And I will just say this before we take a break for the news in case we get off the subject of clowns coming up in the next hour. Anybody that is dumb enough to be going out there and doing this right now, don't carry a weapon. Not even to look menacing, not even to look scary. Don't even carry a fake weapon. Don't intentionally try to scare people. If you're going to dress as a clown to make some kind of a statement or to make some kind of an impact, I can't stop you from doing it. But all I can ask is that you don't do anything stupid that's going to end up getting you hurt and getting other people into trouble as well. Because it is only a matter of time before this turns into...
You could get other people hurt too. They run in a way, trip over something, fall into
driving
something.
Down the road, see you veer off the road. This is going to turn into... There will be clown hunting mobs that are going around if this continues.
I'll say if clown masks or clown suits or anything is anything like a gorilla suit, they're pretty dangerous to run in.
Which, by the way, that made me think of what your Halloween costume should be for this year.
Yeah.
You have to be Harambe. You have to be. You already have the gorilla suit.
And I could buy something over there. And
Yep. But the other thing I was thinking of, too, is you could get like a doll, like a human child, and just attach it to your leg.
Maybe. I don't know.
But then somebody
would
might
never-
take a shot at you.
What happens if I ever want to go to the Cincinnati Zoo again? They'll never let me in.
Why would you want to go there? They killed Harambe. We are all Harambe.
We are.
All right, well, we are just about out of time for this hour, but we'll come back after the news with some more paranormal discussion. During the break, if you want to go and pick up your tickets for Face Your Fear Night 2016, happening next Saturday night at historic Fort Adams in Newport, Rhode Island, then all you have to do is go to WBSM.com, go there and get the tickets before they're gone. If you can't make it to that and you want to go to some of our other great events that are coming up, SpookySouthCoast.com, click on the events page. You will get a calendar listing there of all of the great stuff that we have coming up. Have we added Face Your Fear Night to that calendar?
I
I
believe so.
Or if not, we'll do that at some point. But you can see all the events we have coming up, including the Bridgewater Triangle event on November 5th and Fort Tabor on October 29th. So grab your tickets for all those great events. Remember, use PayPal because PayPal allows you to use the Bill Me Later feature, and you can stretch out your payments over 6 months. So there you go. You don't have to pay for everything all at once. You can go to all these events and just stretch the payments out over 6 months. It's a good deal. I highly recommend it.
And a lot of people think that you have to have a PayPal account to use PayPal.
Nope.
You just
Use your card.
Use your card.
You don't use PayPal. We use PayPal. That's how I
Right.
try to explain it to people. So that's the best way to do it. All right, we're going to take a break for the news, and we'll be back with more.
On Radio Pop and on WBSM.com.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Spooky South Coast. Tim Weisberg here, along with the silent assassin Matt Costa and science advisor Matt Moniz, broadcasting live on WBSM, streaming live on SpookySouthCoast.com and on YouTube as well, and also rebroadcast on the Dark Matter Radio Network. And coming up this week, I have been mentioning Face Your Fears Night, which is happening next Saturday night. You can come and explore historic Fort Adams with the Spooky Crew. Just go to WBSM.com to get your tickets. But also this week, on Tuesday, I will be at the Mattapoisett Public Library giving a presentation on the haunted history of Lizzie Borden. And that kicks off at 6:30 on Tuesday night at the Mattapoisett Public Library. If you want to come on out and hear me talk about the ghost of Lizzie Borden and everybody else that haunts that house, we will do that. And, of course, we always have a great Q&A session after every presentation. It'll be multimedia. It'll be interesting. I'll play for you some clips, at least I hope it's interesting, some of the clips that we've captured there over the years. And I really want everybody to come out and just come out and say hi. You know, I had a great crowd in New Bedford a couple weeks ago. It was the first time I've ever spoken at the New Bedford Library. I've been trying for years to get in there. They contacted me this year and said, we'd like to get you to come in. I said, awesome. And I met some really cool people as a result of it. Some of them are listening right now, so thank you for coming on out and for listening. And if you want to come Tuesday night, it's going to be a slightly different talk. So there might be some of the same, basic stuff at the beginning when I explain what a ghost could be, and you might hear some of the same Lizzie Borden evidence, but, whatever. Come out anyway, because I want to see you all again. I miss you. It's been a couple weeks. And also, I got the chance to meet a gentleman, and I don't want to say too much because, it was a private conversation, but he related to me a story about when he was younger. He had an accident, or he had an issue, a health issue. He was in the hospital, and he saw into other rooms of the hospital while never leaving his bed. Basically, he described remote viewing to me.
Or out-of-body experience, same thing.
Well, this was remote viewing because he was able to, with an out-of-body experience, at least in the definitions that I've always read and I've always used myself, with an out-of-body experience, you can kind of turn around and look and see that you have left your body, and it's kind of like your physical, it's kind of like your spiritual self has left your physical form and gone into these other places. And I think with remote viewing, it's more just kind of envisioning, projecting your consciousness. So
not actually, but okay.
Well, how is it different then?
Well, with remote viewing, yes, you actually wind up seeing things in the 3D visual.
Right, yeah.
Right.
It's just kind of like you're projecting your consciousness into that room, and it's not like, it's not like the silver strand that supposedly connects you from your body when you leave the if you want to get into that side of it.
More of a semantics type
But
of
if
thing.
it's not like that silver strand is going to extend, with remote viewing, you're able to kind of, and the other thing about an out-of-body experience is, at least in, again, what I've read, an out-of-body experience kind of happens in, I don't know if real time is the right phrase, but kind of in our time.
Yeah.
But with remote viewing, you're not hampered by time and space.
Yeah.
You can kind of go all over the place. So it's just a matter of projecting your consciousness more than your spiritual self, if you want to put a distinction between the two.
Yeah.
But anyway, he told me that somebody came to him and said they were from the government, and they told him that they could help him make a pretty good living doing this for a living. I was like, do you know anything about this? He's like, no, that's just what they told me. I never really looked into it. I was like, you basically got asked to join MK Ultra. And he's like, yeah, I don't really know that much about it. And like, he seemed genuine, like it wasn't like it was something he'd researched and was coming and telling me a story. He seemed like it was something. So I was like, all these years that we never had Major Ed Dames on, because I was like, this sounds ridiculous. We actually should have had him on. Maybe it is possible. So, the point of my story is you never know who you're going to meet at one of these things, who's going to come and tell you a story, and who's going to come and tell you something that alters your perception and your view. So come on out Tuesday night if you're not doing anything. I don't know if they're serving refreshments. I don't think they are. They did in New Bedford. I didn't get any. I said, can you just do me a favor and not clean those up until after I'm done talking with the people? But, talking to the people takes precedence, and the next thing I know, all the ghost brownies are gone. And I didn't get any ghost brownies, so... Damn it.
It happens.
I mean, I guess I could have gotten the ghost brownies because I could have gotten the ones that disappeared. So, and speaking of publicity and publicizing things, this being October, people turn their eyes to the paranormal world. People get into this stuff. Got contacted from a couple of different newspapers and organizations that want to feature what we do, or at least get our perspective on some things. But the South Coast Insider has an article up on Spooky South Coast. It's in this month's edition of the magazine, if you can go out there and get a copy of it. But also you can go to coastalmags.com, coastal, COASTALMAGS.com, and just look for Spooky South Coast there, and you'll find the story. It was written by Sean McCarthy, a colleague of mine from the Standard Times, who did a fantastic story on us when the show first started 10 years ago. And now here he is, writing about us 10 years later. And we haven't really gotten a lot of press coverage in recent years. You know what I mean? We don't go out there looking for it either. A smart marketing person would be contacting newspapers and radio television stations and everything and say, hey, there's this radio show that talks about this stuff year round, and it would make great Halloween, but whatever. We're not really self-promoters. But when somebody comes to you and says, I'd like to write an article about you and talk about the things that you guys have accomplished with this show, that's, that touches you a little bit to say, I guess we matter. At least for people's entertainment on a Saturday night or whenever they listen to the podcast. So thank you guys for sticking around and doing this for all this time, because you guys get paid way less than I do to do this. So
you get paid?
No. What's way less than nothing? But we do it for the love of it. We do it for the fact that we get an open microphone to come and talk about this stuff and explore the topic.
For 10 years. And
look at the guests that we've had on this show. Some of the conversations that we've had, some of the unique and different stuff that we've done on the show that I don't think you could ever get away with on a regular, daytime talk show. We don't even run ideas by the station, which we probably should most of the time with the stuff that we come up with, but we don't ever run anything by it. We just do it. And then
that dropping turkeys from a helicopter thing, though.
What was the Les Nessman quote? As God is my witness, I thought they could fly. So, but some of the things that we've done, like the live radio drama that we did, which by the way,
we should do another one.
We really should, but we did that before they started doing a Christmas Carol here on the station. But everybody makes a big deal about a Christmas Carol. But people forgot about the fact that we did Possession of the Church here first. And we had a big newspaper article about that, too. I think Sean might have written that one, too. I'm not sure. But, we take chances. We take chances because we can. We take chances because we feel like we should. And we take chances because, quite frankly, if they fail spectacularly, like, we're okay with that, too. We're like, we're not... we get mad and we get upset about it, but at least, we're happy that we were willing to try.
How about the War of the Worlds one?
That was a great one. Pulled off a hoax. That, it was one thing to be able to get through, and you should go back and listen to this. It was, what was it, Halloween of 2007 or 8?
Yeah,
whatever year the show first fell on a Saturday night, Halloween fell on a Saturday night. It was our first time ever being on the air on Halloween. And we had talked about doing something for War of the Worlds, but we didn't really know how we were going to do it. And I think it was like the week before, we're like, let's start promoting it as we're going to tell spooky ghost stories.
Yeah.
Which we would never, ever do on the radio. Like, it's just cheesy, and it's like we're not good enough storytellers to get away with spending 2 hours just telling you ghost stories on the air. But, we'll get somebody like Lionel Farnthorpe to do it, or somebody who can actually tell a story. Says the guy who does a stage show where he tells ghost stories. But, so the idea was, we thought we could pull off this hoax, or at the very least, we thought we could try to pull it off. We didn't think anybody was going to buy it. We were just hoping people would get the reference. And then it really just kind of all came together that morning.
Yeah.
And we started coming up with these ideas, going back and forth, and Moniz was making stuff up on the fly, and Matt was making stuff up on the fly, and we pulled it off to the point where people thought it was real. Like, we were getting phone calls in the second hour when we started playing the original War of the Worlds. We were getting phone calls from people, like, asking if it was real. I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be able to fill an hour of radio with, trying to pull off a hoax. It's another thing for it to actually work. So, and we'd always talked about that, too. We were always like, we should try and pull off a hoax on the air, but would we lose credibility? And, we could have.
I think Halloween, you kind of, around that time, you get like a free pass.
We did, but that was kind of also very early in our spooky South Coast existence. So I think we were taking kind of a chance a little bit with the credibility, because Moniz was coming up to us with the idea of doing a hoax like right at the beginning, and we were like 4 or 5 months in. He's like, we should try and do that, because there was like some I think it was like some sea serpent hoax that had popped up around that time. We're like, we should try and do one of those, and I was like, I don't think we have the cachet yet to do that. Now we could. Now actually, if we tried to do it, they'd be like, oh, spooky South Coast, they just pull out a hoax. We know these guys. They've done this before. But I am pretty proud of some of the shows that we've done. I mean, some of the ones that have turned into, most downloaded episodes, people's favorites that you never thought would have.
The Backyard Podcast.
Oh, the Backyard Podcast. Oh, how did that even come about?
It was just an idea.
It was the first time we were going to be kicked off the air for baseball. I remember that.
Yeah.
Or final. There was some sort of sporting event that was kicking us off the air. I think it was baseball because it was June.
Was it?
Yeah, it was June. So I think it was the first time that like a game started at like 8:00, and we knew that there was no chance we were going to get on the air.
Yeah, it was like a double header or something.
So we said this is going to be where we're going to try and do this in the backyard. And I don't know where the idea came up with to grill burgers and have booze while we did it.
I think that was kind of organic.
Was it a holiday at the time? Was it?
Was
like
it?
I don't know. Was it like Labor Day?
4th of July or something? Or?
No.
I thought it was in
Maybe. I don't know.
But
I'll have to look. It was so long ago.
The point being, we just brought the food out, and the booze happened to be there, and one thing leads to another. And
next thing you know, the grill's on fire, and we're getting all introspective and telling about our own experiences and getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. And good thing we did that like pre Zika and pre Triple E and all that stuff. But yeah, go back and check that one out if you've never checked it out. Certainly always a fan favorite. People ask us all the time, when are you going to do another one of those? We did one for Belanger's 40th birthday, but the idea was that we were going to get drunk and record a podcast, but we were surprisingly like We made sense and brought up a lot of valid points, so it didn't have the same impact as the first Backyard podcast one.
Yeah.
There was a lot of editing that went into that. I remember that, and it's certainly not edited for content. We didn't clean it up, but we had to edit it because there was a lot of like inaudible stuff that you couldn't understand, and like we would spend like 10 minutes away from the microphone, and then like go back because we just turned on the recording and just let it
Right,
because
I think the real podcast was like 4 hours.
Right, and we had the unedited version saved at some point. Like we had the raw audio saved at one point. I don't know what happened to it, but I think I might have it on one of the early discs.
You talking to one at Belanger's? Or
No, the
original
Backyard
Oh,
podcast.
God.
I had the original audio saved because I saved it just for posterity, just in case we ever had a use for it. But that was
a lot of
one.
interesting stuff came out of that whole day. In terms of what we were talking about, because we covered everything.
Yeah, I mean, we really dug into the our own, and there was that episode we did with Linda Lynch where she came in and interviewed us and talked to us about our own experiences. We've always been kind of hesitant to make the show about us, so to speak, but
Yeah.
there's been some episodes where we've done that. I'm just kind of going back in my mind down the memory lane of some of the shows we've done. We remember we did that one. I think it was just Matt Costa and I. We did it in my house in the office. We did How Junior High is the Paranormal.
I remember of that show, but I don't exactly remember the show.
I don't remember the details of it. I just remember, I believe that was also the night that Danvers State Hospital was on fire. And Bolzano called us with a live update. We had to like plug him over Skype, so we were like, "How do we do this? How do we make a Skype phone call work?"
I love Bolzano. He's always the Spooky South Coast standby.
Right, and the scapegoat. He's always like the guy that we can be like, "Well, this was Bolzano's idea. If it doesn't work out, and if it does work out, we'll take the credit." But
right, he's in Florida. Whatever.
What I believe it was Bolzano's idea though to do the Roswell Smackdown, which was another one of our more popular episodes. With the one where Matt Moniz debated John Horrigan. They went round for round on the facts and the legend of the Roswell alien crash, which was all cleared up when we talked to the actual Roswell alien a few years later, Commander Sonny Cito. That's also one for the Spooky South Coast. I was telling the story when I was speaking to the New Bedford Library when I said, we're proud of the fact that we've only been hung up on twice. And only one time did we really deserve it. Like, and by saying deserve it, I mean, did we give the guest a reason to hang up? The second time was when there was a certain author who wrote a book about a subject he knew nothing about. And when we started calling him out on that, his phone mysteriously disconnected for a minute. And then we started talking crap about him on the air for hanging up on us. And that's when he called back and said, I don't know what happened. So, but yeah, that happened. But I see, that's one thing that I would never, ever do. I would never have somebody on just for the purpose of attacking them. I want to have them on to kind of explain their side of things. But I would never want to just attack someone. I heard an interview once with one of the Boston sports radio shows where they got Rick Pitino to come on, the former coach of the Celtics, current coach of Louisville. They had him come on. He was promoting a book or something or other. And he comes on to promote this thing. And the first thing they say to him is, you ruined the Celtics, screw you, and then they hung up on him. Like, that's just unprofessional. That's terrible. And we would never do that. But we will hold you accountable if we have questions about what it is that you've done or what it is that you're out there selling or trying to sell to the public anyway. So if anybody would like to call in, 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. See, people are mentioning the Commander Sonny Cito episode in the chat room. It is that legendary. We also have coming up the new show with Amy Bruni and Adam Berry coming to TLC called Kindred Spirits. That'll be coming up, and that's a show that deals with cases of people that are haunted by family members. And Moniz, I know you've dealt with that quite a bit in your career. You've had a lot of cases.
I've got 2 cases I'd like to give them right now.
But you've dealt with it a lot over the years,
Yes.
where it's a kind of a frequent occurrence.
Yes.
It's probably, I would say, it's probably more common to be haunted by a family member than by a complete stranger. And I don't mean haunted in a way that, it's unnerving and it puts you off, but to have frequent activity and frequent visitations.
It's one of the most common reports. A lot of people call it a crisis haunting. So that's nothing new. There's reports of that go back in history. So.
And you've had it happen to you.
I
You've
had
visitations.
it personally happen to me. Yes.
I've had it happen. I've had experiences with family members, but they were brief. It was never anything that was prolonged over a period of time.
Right.
It was usually my grandmother would come to me in dreams, but I would kind of count that as part of it. And then there was one time I saw my grandfather sitting in the chair. But I wrote about the story in Haunted Objects, but I'll just tell it briefly on the air. My grandparents' house, after they had passed away, my cousin was living in the house, and there was a fire, and the whole house burned down. And when we went to go try and salvage whatever we could, my grandfather had this ugly plastic flamingo in the garden that he kept out there that everybody hated and always told him to get rid of it, but he kept it out there anyway. And the flames from the fire had melted the flamingo into like just this pink pile of goo on a metal rod. So I was able to salvage the chair from his workshop in the basement where he used to sit and spend hours every day, working, woodworking, whittling, stoking the fire, whatever he was doing. So I was able to salvage the chair. I brought that to, at the time I was living in my parents' basement, and I was in college at the time. So I put the chair in the basement, and I put the melted pink flamingo in the basement where I lived. And I woke up one night, and I look in the chair, and my grandfather's sitting in the chair. And I just kind of shake my head and think of it as I'm so used to seeing him there that I would expect to see him there. And then the second night, it happens again. And I think the second night he shook his head at me. And then the third night that happened, he pointed. These were literally 3 nights in a row. He pointed to the pink flamingo, like as if to say, "Get that out of here." And so I literally went outside at like 3 o'clock in the morning and took that thing and hucked it into the woods, never to be seen again. And I never saw my grandfather again after that. So, it's one of those things where it does happen. But for some families, it's happening on a prolonged basis. It's happening again and again. So we're going to try and hook up with Amy and Adam. I think we're going to record a podcast with them. I know that they wanted to come in and do it live. I don't know if we'll be able to do. We wouldn't be able to do that till like November, but if they want to come in here and do like a pre-recorded show that we can air in our absence during some of these events, we could certainly do that. We could also record the video. And Matt, can we program videos to run at a certain time on YouTube? Now that we have the 1,000 subscribers,
sure.
We should be able to do whatever we want.
Right.
And thank you everybody for
I don't
subscribing.
know. I'll have to look into that. Maybe there's some options that are available now.
We might have new opportunities. Or we could just have somebody run it for us. I'm just reading some of the chat room stuff, seeing if anything pops up. So if anybody would like to call in, 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. Those are the numbers to call in and share whatever is on your mind from a paranormal nature. I told you guys about the woman who called me up on Saturday morning last week and told me that she could never vote for Hillary Clinton because Hillary Clinton said that when she was in the White House, she talked to the ghost of Eleanor Roosevelt.
Okay.
Yeah, huh?
I remember you telling me that, yeah.
Yeah, she told me, she's like, I could never vote for Hillary Clinton because she said she spent 8 years in the White House talking to the ghost of Eleanor Roosevelt. I'm like, so you wouldn't vote for her because she talks to ghosts? And she's like, yeah, that's crazy. It's ridiculous. I was like, ma'am, I talk to ghosts. Don't you listen to Spooky South Coast? But that's the way that some people feel. And it's funny because even this time of year, like, everybody's into it. Everybody wants to read stories
because she was
about it.
actually talking to Eleanor Roosevelt. I mean, you've got the ghost of Lincoln there, too.
Well,
I mean, you should,
I think it's whatever ghost comes and wants to talk to you. If I was there, I would hope that it would be Lincoln that would come and talk to me. But with my luck, probably like
Taft or something.
Yeah, William Henry Harrison or something. Rutherford B. Hayes. I'm like, can I get an A-list president, please?
Damn
please?
it, Van Buren.
Leave me alone, Martin. Yeah, leave me alone, Martin Van Buren. Go away, Millard Fillmore. Who are some? There's got to be some even more obscure presidents.
Oh, I'm sure.
Zachary Tyler. Leave me alone, Zachary Tyler.
Right.
He was the guy that was only president for a month, right?
Yeah, he died of pneumonia or something.
Yeah, he caught pneumonia at the inauguration.
Which one was ate cherries with milk and died? Which one was that? I thought that was Zachary Taylor.
You can't eat cherries with milk?
Supposedly. Well, I don't know. That's what they were attributing it to, but I think they were
Probably
like
choked on a cherry stone or
they were saying he was the first president to get assassinated.
Oh yeah, because it was suspicious how he died.
Yeah, they were saying it was a poison.
Well, didn't Harry Truman die from eating Pop Rocks and soda? Is that no? That's totally not true. Remember we did that on the air. We did that on air. We did a live experiment where we did Pop Rocks and soda.
You
on
almost
air.
died.
Yeah.
I almost died.
I think so.
I don't remember. Was it,
I don't know.
Do we have an ambulance stationed outside just in case?
I dialed 911, and then my finger was hovering over the other one.
It's like when you go to the high school football game, they always have the ambulance sitting outside just in case anybody gets hurt.
Exactly.
That's how we did it for the Pop Rocks and soda.
We live dangerously here.
We do. Madonna Diamond said she likes Millard Fillmore.
Risk takers. I don't even have a case on my phone. Neither does Moniz.
You are getting nuts.
Living on the edge. Living on the edge.
It's funny because I went OtterBox.
Yeah.
And you've gone no case at all.
Nothing.
You better get a case before next Saturday night. We're going to be, it says right here in the promo.
I'm just hoping
treacherous terrain.
I'm hoping to break my phone, then I have an excuse to buy a new one.
You could definitely not go play Pokemon Go at Fort Phoenix crawling on the rocks without a case on your phone. Because you will drop it. Which, by the way, I was there earlier today. It was a nice day out, too. Like, really nice weather. Far less people out there playing the game. There is a paranormal version of, well, a game like Pokemon Go that's coming out that'll be a paranormal story where you'll walk around and things will actually appear on the camera next to you. It was actually the Ghostbusters game that they no longer have out there that was the first one to start incorporating this stuff. The augmented reality. So the paranormal usually is on kind of the forefront of some of this technology. Like, for example, Discovery Channel has a great VR app for virtual reality for your phone, and one of the things they have is a ghost asylum ghost hunt, which wasn't I saying when I got the VR thing. I was like, we should do one of these. And now we know how to do it. We just need like 75 more GoPro cameras to be able to do. How many do you need to put in a row to capture 360? Is it like 6 or 8?
I'm not sure. I saw a couple videos on YouTube.
But you just put them around and I saw this thing the other day, which at the pharmacy they had this Halloween costume thing. It's like the thing they put on your head when you go in for the electric chair.
Mm-hmm.
And it has like the lights all around it and everything, and you press the button and it like goes. I was like, I'm totally buying that and just wearing it to the show. But I was like, we could also put GoPro cameras on it too, so we could get a 360-degree experience of the show. Would anybody want that?
I don't know. Nobody's.
That was not a rhetorical question. I was asking you guys if you actually thought.
Would anybody want that? I really have to think about that.
I'm just doing what's called the stretch here. We didn't plan the show very well. We originally had.
How's
thought
that
we were going to
different
have a
from
ghost.
other shows?
I thought we were going to have a guest though this one because it was the last live show of October, but nope. So we will just forge ahead. 508-996-0500 877-996-1420. Moniz, I know you weren't here last week when we announced the Bridgewater investigation that we're doing on November 5th, but let me tell you about this now because I haven't had a chance to talk to you about it yet.
I read something about it.
The 1662 Reverend James Keith House, the Bridgewater Historical Society building, which was built in 1900, 1901, I forget, which is 3 levels and has artifacts in it from the era of King Philip's War. The old cemetery, which has members of the Keith family buried, and War Memorial Park, which has Pulpit Rock, which is where the Reverend James Keith gave his first sermons when he moved to Bridgewater. You've probably been to War Memorial Park and just don't even know it. You know where Betancourt's is.
Yes.
This is like a butts right to the back of Betancourt's. So it's going to be an awesome night. 4 different locations. There's going to be 3 levels of the Historical Society building, including the basement, which is loaded with archives, where you can kind of just poke around and see what pops up. There's going to be the Keith House, which again, this thing is from 1662. It looks like it's from 1662. There's artifacts in there that are that old, and it's a really cool place. We had Melody and Mindy. They were stationed there last week as part of the Bridgewater Triangle show, and they caught a pretty cool mist in there. Some of the stuff has been rolling through from the Triangle show. Some people have been posting some things, but it'll take a little while before we're able to kind of amalgamate it all together.
How are we going to get people at the different places?
People are going to have to transport themselves from one to the next. It's about a half a mile between each spot at the most. So it's not a distance that you can walk. You could walk, but just in the interest of time, because we only have so much time in each spot, people are going to have to drive. So we'll probably just kind of carpool, 4 people get into a car and just drive to the next spot. It'll take you like 2 minutes to drive from one spot to the next. And there should be enough parking around each place for us to be able to pull it off. So I've been working very diligently with the Historical Society to make sure that we can pull this off without a hitch. They actually got us access to a field next to the Historical Society building for everybody's parking for the night, and then we'll just use a couple of vehicles to kind of move everybody around. So it should work out.
All right.
Well, we hope. But there will be a lot of walking. There will be some time outdoors, so keep that in mind before you purchase your ticket, which you can do so by going to SpookySouthCoast.com. And again, but I'm excited for this Fort Adams thing next weekend because, like I said, I have not investigated there yet. I haven't even visited there yet. We're going to go, obviously, ahead of time and get the lay of the land and have an idea of what it is that we'll be exploring. But it's going to be awesome just getting to explore and have all access, really. So if you want to join us for that one, you can get tickets at WBSM.com. I haven't even asked you because I know you're all over the place, Moniz, over the next couple of weeks. I know you're not going to be around on the 22nd, right? I thought you were going on a trip on the 22nd.
This month?
Yes.
No, I am.
I thought you were taking down some wild boar that weekend.
No.
Okay. So
No.
the 22nd will be at the Haunted Victorian.
Yep.
The S.K. Pierce Mansion. The 29th, Fort Tabor.
That's the one I may have an issue with.
All right. And then November 5th, of course, is the Bridgewater Triangle one.
Yeah, because I got to do the Paroween up in Salem.
The who?
It's a UFO event
Okay.
that I agreed to do months ago.
Is it a convention? Is there going to be...
Yeah, it's a series of UFO people up in Salem. I'll get you the details.
So we can let everybody know about it on the show. I get to be in Salem twice next year with Salem Con, and then as part of the Strange Escapes cruise next year, they're starting it off in Salem, and people are already like asking me. They're sending me messages on Facebook. Hey, how far is Salem from the South Coast? I want to check out some of these places that you guys talk about on the show. It's not that far. It's about 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it's only 2 hours because
and
it takes forever to get to Salem.
And I was going to say, if it's on a weekend, it's probably a lot easier to get up there. Right.
Salem Con, I go every year on a Friday afternoon.
Oh.
I don't know why I don't just take the day off and go earlier. I'm like, come on. You got to go through the whole tunnel and all that stuff. And, terrible. But certainly, we would love to see you at some of these events. Again, WBSM.com if you want to get the Fort Adams tickets, and then SpookySouthCoast.com for all the rest of them. As we go into Halloween season, there's a lot of these different events that happen. There's a lot of different ghost hunts. There's a lot of different lectures that are out there. I mean, you could probably find something to do every night. Like Jeff Belanger is out every night somewhere during the course of October. You could probably go and just follow him around and have something every night. But there's something every single night of the week happening somewhere.
Nope, you're right. It is the 22nd that I'm not going to be around. That's the Paroween. That's the problem with us. We got so many different things going on.
That's why we have calendar apps on our phones, because otherwise we would never know where we're supposed to be. I just remember seeing him post something about it. I just knew I was like, oh, that's one of the dates that we have an event. Keep that in the back of my mind. But that's all right, because we actually have strict fire codes for that night. So we were worried about being won over. So now we won't be. Because the fire codes have apparently changed, because we used to have 40 people in that house, and now we can only have 20. Which makes for a much more intimate investigation anyway. These guys aren't even listening to me anymore. They're all just playing with their phones.
Well, I just posted what I got on my thing just so
They're
we
like,
be able
nope,
to connect
no.
it.
The chat
whatever.
room is listening to you.
Yeah.
The faithful chat room.
Well, why don't we actually take a break, because I have some breaks that I have to run. So we will do that. We'll come back with more and your calls as well. 508-996-0500. Back in just a few moments here on Spooky South Coast.
Getting a great night's sleep.
Welcome back to Spooky South Coast. Tim Weisberg with you, along with the silent assassin Matt Costa and science advisor Matt Moniz. And we have a special caller on the line. Good evening. You're on Spooky South Coast.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you guys?
Can we have your name and where you're calling from, please?
Should I give my real name?
No. You should have known I was going to say that.
I figured you would. You guys sounded like you missed me, so I figured I'd call in and entertain you.
Well, we are in the stretch portion of the show, so thank you for calling in.
I'm going to eat chips at the microphone like they're gummy bears.
Oh, that was a veiled shot, a not so veiled shot. Would you like me to bring
Matt.
I actually brought these because I wanted you to smell the bag.
me or
Seriously?
Stephanie.
That's not creepy at all.
What do you mean? It's loaded chili cheese dog.
Oh,
Which you
that
can
doesn't
see-
New
sound good.
Bedford's homepage.
All right.
WBS.
You can see the picture on
That
our
hasn't happened in a long
Instagram
time.
account.
You Instagrammed a picture of the chips?
Mhm.
We
All
need
right, I'll have to go check that out then.
Wise is the local brand.
All right, I'm trying to get a sponsorship.
Yeah, I was gonna say we
Either
should really get a
7-Eleven, Wise, if you're listening.
See, Moniz,
dig those
you
chips.
missed the show last week. We had the green screen in,
Okay.
and I had gone and gotten a bunch of food, pizza and wings from 7-Eleven for us to eat, because apparently we were going to have like a cast of thousands in here at one point, but then it just dwindled down to myself and Matt and Stephanie, and so Matt green screened me into 7-Eleven, so that's where we were doing the show from.
Okay.
And it was awesome. It kind of looks a little boring and empty tonight.
Yeah, it's not the same without it, but we're lucky we can just get this stuff working. So we were happy just to have it start off. Again, next Saturday night is going to be Fort Adams, and I ask the guys, have you ever been there?
I actually have not been there, or at least inside. I've been outside and, by the water. It's a beautiful, beautiful sight during the daytime, especially, around this time of year. So I've definitely walked around the outside, but I haven't been on the inside, and I'm really, really excited to go.
I do. And it looks like we might have a special visitor coming down. It looks like Jimmy from the chat room might be making.
I did
the
see
trip,
that.
So.
That would be awesome.
And I spent some time with him on the cruise. Great guy. That's what's great about these events that we do is we get to meet a lot of cool people and hang out with a lot of cool people. So it's kind of like a big family reunion when we have an event.
Which is great, and that's what I love the most about all of our events, really. We meet so many people, and they become kind of like family. We get to know them, and, through social media especially, everybody follows each other, and it develops great relationships, great, friendships with people, and even group dynamics, them going out and investigating on their own because they met at our events.
I mean, I'm pretty excited for next week because I think that, it's going to be one of those things where sometimes when you're investigating for the first time, and I know that other people have investigated there numerous times, but sometimes when it's your first investigation, it can kind of help amplify things and help, draw some more things out. And so not only will it be a first time for a lot of the people who are attending, but it will be a first for the Spooky Crew as well. And I think that kind of helps lend into some of the excitement so that we're not kind of going in there with expectations of wanting the same things to happen that have happened on previous trips or, trying to draw out repeats of the same activity, but just going in there with a fresh perspective and the idea that anything could happen.
Oh, I agree, especially with the history. From what I've heard, the history is pretty amazing there, so I'm really excited for it. I can't wait.
I haven't been, Matt Costa, to Newport since I went with you one time, right? We went one time.
I don't know, did we?
Or maybe it was some other friends of mine. Maybe it was like way back, like in high school times. And
Wow.
I know I went one time with Matt's cousin. Briefly,
Maybe.
just long enough for him to get a tattoo, and I had to sit there and wait while he got a tattoo. Because before you get a tattoo in Massachusetts, so I had to wait. You never went to High Light with me? I never took you to High Light?
No.
Oh man, those Monies, you must have gone to High Light.
I heard it was
Oh,
all
yeah,
rigged
I've been
anyway.
to that.
It's easy to rig, so I wouldn't be surprised. But High Light was my jam back in the day. I used to love to go there.
They had some good food at the place.
I don't know if I ever ate there, but I certainly enjoyed the highlight. I never gambled. I'm not a gambler, but I just sat there and watched highlight. Or like just watching these people beat the crap out of each other over this little tiny ball. I don't think they have that anymore, but if they did, total side trip before the event.
Stephanie, if you don't know, highlight is very similar to Quidditch.
Yeah.
Is it?
Think about it.
Is it really? I don't
know. I'm not
what
sure. I know there's like a little.
There's flying brooms
I guess
involved?
it's the ball is kind of like a golden snitch.
I was gonna say if there's one
have no idea what you're
cape
talking
and
about.
brooms involved, I'm ditching you guys. You guys can go to Fort Adams alone.
But and of course, one of the great things about Newport too is, it's known for its seafaring culture, and I think a lot of that will be into play. So as you know, Stephanie, when you go to a location, it's not always just about those who died there that you might encounter. It could be anybody that's passed through, that port in all of these years. And at one point, I know it was a spot where a lot of slave ships came in, and there was a lot of that aspect of the history. And there was, all of the wealthy families, of course, that built the mansions in Newport. So it's certainly a town that has a rich and diverse history.
They actually have a really rich pirate history as well.
Well, that's good because I pirate things all the time. I pirate movies and music, so I'll fit right in.
They have everything. I mean, if you've ever taken a day trip to Newport and walked around the shops, and if you're a huge nerd like me, I probably have a ridiculous amount of Newport books. But they have so much going on, just, that entire area, so much history, so many stories, so many urban legends. And the history and the energy down at Fort Adams is crazy. So it should be very interesting.
Yeah, as long as I know where there's a McDonald's afterwards, because you always get hungry after an event.
I am with you because I have a McDonald's problem. So,
well, the one thing that I'm looking forward to about it is, again, the fact that we get to hang out with people that we haven't seen for a while. You'll get to meet Jimmy for the first time, and I know you guys are going to love each other. All you guys will get to meet him for the first time. Great guy, and of course, there's always new friends to be made as well.
Oh, absolutely. Why don't we should let everybody know where to get tickets because there was a little bit of confusion in the chat room earlier.
Right. The Fort Adams event, it's a Face Your Fears night. It's being done through the radio station, which we're still running the event. It's still going to be run just like we do all of our events. You're going to get some food. You're going to have snacks and drinks during the night. You're going to have the ability to investigate all these locations in smaller groups. So we're going to do it the same way that we always do things, but it's just being run through the radio station. So it's Face Your Fears night, and you can buy the tickets on WBSM.com or on Fun107.com. Either one of the two station websites, you can buy your tickets for this event, and certainly get and when you do buy them, just be aware, they're $99 as with most of our events, but because it's through the station, there's also a little bit of a service charge as well. But that's all right. It's still going to be well worth your money. Just get your tickets as soon as you can because I'm afraid they might run out. We set this for a little bit lower than we did last year at last year's event. Last year's event sold out pretty quickly. So hopefully people can get on there and get their tickets sooner rather than later. And then all the rest of the events are all for sale on SpookySouthCoast.com. If you go to the events page there, that's where you can get tickets to our Fort Tabor event and to our Bridgewater Triangle event as well. Those are both up for sale on the Spooky South Coast page. So hopefully that kind of clarifies things. And I know that, Matt, did you say that the Face Your Fears Night event is added to our calendar?
I can add it there.
All right, yeah, just add it there and put a link there to their page so that way there, hopefully it'll make
definitely.
it easier for everybody.
I put it up on our Facebook page, so it is available.
And the other thing, too, is, if you are planning on attending the Face Your Fears Night event, if you buy your tickets sooner rather than later as well, that helps us with, the food count and all of that stuff, too, to make sure that we have enough for everybody. And we're not kind of scrambling on the day of to make sure that we have enough pizzas or what have you. Because we got to make sure that not only do we have enough pizzas, but we want to have enough pizzas for you to grab some a little bit later on as well.
Want to make sure everybody's fed.
And then that you can grab a piece at 11:30.
It makes for a better ghost hunt if everybody's.
I agree.
The blood sugars are at a
your
moderate
stomach is
level.
full and your stomach is gurgling by the time we start investigating.
Yeah, plenty of demons for EVP.
Yes, you have to. If you don't have pizza before the ghost hunt, how can I do my fart joke during the during the warnings and disclaimers section? And I will do my fart joke. I actually do it now in the library lectures because it gets requested.
That is awesome.
Somebody actually asked me at the New Bedford lecture, "Are you going to do the fart joke?" And I was
No
like,
way.
if you want me to. And they brought it up at the Murdoch Whitney house. So somebody came up to me and said, listen, I have my son here, and you need to do the fart joke. So now I have to every time.
I don't think I've ever heard the fart joke.
Yes, you have. You've heard it before. When I
don't
start
think
talking
so.
about what happens when you hold it in during the investigation.
It's not ringing a bell. I might have to.
Well, it wouldn't be a bell that'd be ringing. But don't worry, you'll
Unless
get
it's
to
taco.
you'll get to hear the joke and the basis for it both next Saturday night and
Great,
every
I can't
Saturday
wait.
night for the next month.
Yeah, pretty much. You're stuck with me.
We're gonna be eating a lot of pizza.
And I can't wait for it.
Well,
People are
that's one
asking
of
if
us.
I'm doing readings at the event. Do we have an answer about that yet, Tim?
I do not have an answer on that yet,
Okay.
but we will have one this week.
Awesome.
We had crazy things going on here. They had Jeff Musial this week and all kinds of crazy things going on here
I
at
did
the
see
station.
that.
So I will get an answer on that, and we'll try and get it going as soon as Monday. We'll have an answer one way or the other.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you, Stephanie, for calling in.
Thank you.
Even though
And
I
will
know
see you guys
that
soon.
you were kept out of the studio tonight, but that's all right because now you don't have to show up for like the next 5 or 6 weeks.
I know. I have it off. I'm on vacation. So are you.
But we got to figure something out for some recorded shows. So don't
Yes,
be
we
afraid.
do.
Don't be afraid to answer the phone if you see that it's me calling.
Sounds great.
All right. You have a good night.
All right. You too. Thanks.
And everybody out there, we are just about out of time. Again, if you want to get tickets for next Saturday night, WBSM.com. That's where to go to get the Fort Adams tickets. Everything else on SpookySouthCoast.com. And probably by the time you're hearing this podcast, Matt will have everything linked up to the calendar on SpookySouthCoast.com. But don't wait. Get those tickets now because, like I said, last year's event did sell out, and we expect that the same will probably happen this year, especially where, we're not getting any hurricanes or anything. So we should be good to go next Saturday night when we go to Fort Adams. But for the rest of you who aren't going to come out to the event, stay tuned to SpookySouthCoast.com. We'll have information about the next live show, as well as if we get the chance to come in here and do some recorded shows. The Red Sox are in the playoffs technically right now. We'll see what happens over the next 2 games, so that could alter some things here on the radio as well. Well, that does it for this week's show. For Matt, for Chris, for Stephanie, I'm Tim. We want you all out there to stay spooktacular.
Information.